Hmm. What's up, Punka? How you doing, puppy? Yeah. Okay. Little incognito. Oh, it's a beautiful morning. It's gonna rain. Ooh, I think I need. Let me put in a headset. The sound will be better. Yeah. Okay. Let me close this all down. All right. I'd like to, not like to, I'm going to, while I sit with my puppy and some of my carvings, it's early and just want to talk a little bit about TitanX migration of value to Pulsechain and why we're doing that. And then also I want to talk about the EROS web and two pairs in particular that I like, I'm in, and that we're focusing on as a small, tight team. That's the EROS Bear pair and the EROS pDAI pair, right? So the big picture is we are migrating value from Ethereum to Pulsechain. Individuals, and we're doing it in semi-coordinated ways. People are moving into the EROS web. People are moving into other smaller webs, but they're all interconnected, right? And so there is this migration of value from Ethereum to Pulsechain. And it's basically to create scarcity on Ethereum and new market opportunity on Pulsechain. Give TitanX assets a new market, a new pairing strategy that opens up depressed TitanX assets that are at lows. It opens them up to new opportunities, right? And so we've started with Lotus and Eden in the EROS web, and it really started a migration of a lot of assets. Now every TitanX asset is on Ethereum, right? And now the work, is on Pulsechain. And so now the work is for people to build deeper liquidity pools, deeper pairs that will attract new investors on Pulsechain, right? And also new investors who come into TitanX but want exposure to Pulsechain. So, okay, Pulsechain. Is the Pulsechain bull run finally here? Is Richard Hart finally messaging to his diverse and conflicted community that it's time, right? Richard Hart, first of all, there's regulatory certainty, right? I've been saying this for a while. Once there's SEC, once Richard Hart's lawyers beat the SEC, there was regulatory certainty for Pulsechain, and I know it's only a matter of time once that happens for tech upgrades and capital flow into Pulsechain. So that I'm looking forward to. As an original sacrificer for Pulse and PulseX, I'm very happy to see that finally there's regulatory certainty. And I see Richard Hart, who's the founder, builder, responsible not for the decentralized part of the technology. There's validator nodes. There's almost 50,000 like validator nodes, it's maybe the most decentralized validator node set anywhere. So now that we've got regulatory certainty, there's going to be an infusion of capital. The bridge is going to get clogged again. There are going to be new bridges, new on-ramps and off-ramps. And so those of us in TitanX who also believe in the Pulsechain bull run, and I've thought for a while that the Pulsechain bull run was going to front run because, Pulsechain had so capitulated. And I don't know if that capitulation is over, but it feels over to me. And especially with the pDAI narrative. Hunka, Kobe. My dog's there. Hey, stay close. With Richard Hart coming alive, July 5th is when there's full freedom from SEC oversight. I believe it's 60 days from the decision. There was time to appeal that administrative rule. Actually, it was a court ruling. So I think they had 60 days, and that ends on July 5th. After that, I expect Pulsechain fireworks. And so let me talk for a little bit. I'm a little distracted because my dogs are, where are they? I'm supposed to keep track of them so they don't run off and chase deer and antelope. Okay, so why did we, so let me talk a little bit about EROS, the token, and why scarcity and demand is important for EROS, and why we're building a diamond hand holder group for EROS. So that's one thing, is EROS the token and how we got there. And then the other thing is the EROS web and how it's connecting Pulsechain assets and TitanX assets in a liquidity web. And the biggest pool, we are a community migration, and so this is happening organically. There's two pools that I want to talk about in the EROS web. One is EROS Bear, and one is EROS pDAI. Now, I'm in both of those pools. I'm fully, this is what I'm doing. There are others in those pools, and it's early, right? We are pairing EROS and Bear at relative lows. Both of them have rebounded. EROS for the last 10 weeks has been green, right? We've had a really good green and a healthy retracement, and we're consolidating, right? And we're paired with pDAI and Bear, which is the Atropa ecosystem. And I did that. We're doing that because we want to pair with strength. So we have EROS, which is a 5% fee sharing token. So 5% goes in. It's a fee sharing token when you're in. You pay a fee to get in. If you want to get out, you pay a fee to get out. And the fees turn into a fee sharing system for holders and stakers of EROS, right? So EROS, we're pairing, we've got like 55 pairs, but the two I want to talk about, Bear, why Bear? Well, partially because I was an original Bear holder. This is the OG teddy bear, right? And it's part of, the Richard Hart, pDAI, teddy bear, Atropa narrative and speculation. And it's just speculation. It's all a speculative investment. pDAI is speculative, except for the insiders who know what the hell is going on. It's all speculative, but that's okay. I've got my pDAI bag, same thing with Bear. These are hugely speculative investments, but the indicators are that we've hit bottom with these assets, just like the indicators are we've hit bottom with EROS and hopefully TitanX. And particularly on Pulsechain, it feels to me that maybe we are front running this alt season on Pulsechain. So yeah, and if you look at the charts and if you look at what's green right now, like Bear is killing it, pDAI is killing it. Ooh, I'm on low power mode. And fortunately, EROS is paired with them, right? And so in the liquidity webs, we've got this bonded liquidity, right? And so they go up together and they go down together. It's the blessing and the curse of bonded liquidity, but it's something that, particularly as we have hit bottoms and are going up, it's good, right? Because we're bonded together, and I'm only making LP pairs with two coins that I really like and that I'm comfortable holding for months months and potentially years, as I take profits on the way out or on the way up, I mean. So yeah, let's see. EROS. So for those who don't know, EROS was an airdrop to liquid TitanX holders. It's a fork of PTGC, of the Gray's currency, without allocation to a DAO and a treasury. And so EROS, the smart contract, and EROS, the staking contract, is fully automated. It's renounced, it's verified. It was a gift to us, and now a few of us have reclaimed the contract and are using the contract to build around. So what's happening is, if you look at the chart of EROS, you'll see that it's been doing pretty well. Since we did a community takeover about 10 weeks ago. And it's mostly because we're building a holder group that's interested in holding and not buying and selling in the bull market. We're interested in accumulating at the lows, pairing with strength, and learning together how to take profits on the way up, right? So this is an experienced diamond hand crew of people that have been slowly accumulating EROS and putting it into pairs with tokens that we think are strong and are going to do well on the Pulsechain bull run. And that includes TitanX assets, build on TitanX assets that we've bridged over, and it includes Pulsechain assets like Pulse and Bear and pDAI and Atropa and UFO and many other tokens that are in the web. My focus in the EROS web is a few TitanX assets that I have and that I wanted to deploy into the web. So I've bridged over Lotus and I participated in its revival. We're basically up 12x from the bottom with Lotus. That's amazing, right? Same thing with Eden. We're up 7x from the bottom. So Lotus, Eden, what other assets did I bring over? Some TitanX, some DragonX, some JakeX, some LegendX, and now all of that is sitting in the LP web, paired mostly with EROS. So I've been buying EROS to pair with my TitanX assets, a little bit at a time because it's early and the liquidity is still thin, but it's growing. Every week it's growing. And no one's in charge. It's a community migration of value, which I like. And in general, we have aligned interest to revive TitanX assets, and give them a new market on Pulsechain, all of them, whichever ones want to be on Pulsechain, we're going to uplift together and pair with strength on Pulsechain and ride the bull market I think is here personally, but that's me. On Pulsechain, I think that this is a very strange, Ethereum performance, but it reminds me of the Bitcoin performance and when Bitcoin had its first ETF. So this is not surprising to me. I thought that we were going to have a very volatile and drawn out next leg of the bull cycle. It felt to me like the big whales buying Ethereum were suppressing the price, right? There's been crazy, leverage speculation to the upside and the downside, right? Yeah. So my thinking was, and this is just me, that it was going to be a slower, and more drawn out because there's some really big players in Ethereum now, buying, selling, and AI is involved. And once you've got like the big market makers like BlackRock and all these other Fidelity, ETFs, and then you have like all the politicians like playing the game, it's explosive, right? So anyway, I do think it's possible, and I think it's likely with Richard Hart now speaking up and things happening. If you're following the pDAI narrative and what's going on there, I don't know what to think. I'm holding pDAI as a speculative asset, not in huge quantities, just a bag of it, and I'm pairing it with EROS, right? EROS, I have a lot more understanding of, like who holds it, what's the scarcity dynamic, how might we turn it into EROS X, which is a non-fee based token. It will not have a fee and then can fly to any blockchain. It can stay, and so there's a lot we can do with EROS. Yeah. So let's see, anything else? pDAI, I don't know if it doesn't, for me, I have no idea. It's way too speculative I'm not part of the extreme speculation about pDAI and whether or not it's going to be a stable coin. And that's not really how I think about this. I think about it as a speculative asset that I did really well with, like when I bought originally at the lows, and then I sold on the way up, and I bought again when I saw it bottoming out here. I bought a little pDAI. I didn't know that I was going to pair it with my EROS yet, but I bought pDAI pretty much at the bottom, not a lot, a few $100s worth, but it's already doing very well. And now it's paired with EROS, same thing, but EROS at the bottom. And so it's a really good strategy to buy at the bottom, and sell on the way up, as opposed to buying the green. And sometimes it's just rotating value. If you don't have new capital, I'm not bringing in new capital. I'm redeploying. I have assets over on Cosmos, and I brought some over to put into EROS, right? That's the first way that I bought EROS, was with dust on the Cosmos chain. I bridged it over and thought, all right, I'm going to buy little dust of EROS. So, yeah. So the EROS burn, baby, burn contract. I like it a lot. that's me. And I think there's love-hate, which is amazing because what's not to love about EROS? And I carved it too, by the way. OG EROS is carved. This was the original EROS, actually. It was airdropped. And what I've learned is to accept a gift, especially one, that's maybe the gift that keeps on giving. And I had carved it into the TitanX totem from the beginning, which is why it makes a lot of sense for me to participate in reclaiming the EROS, right? Yeah, EROS is hot. And Zara is one of our mascots, right? We'll see who else pairs. I'm waiting for, Zara represents Lotus, Eden, Shao, Smoke. I think Smoke is paired. Maybe not. Maybe not. But it doesn't matter. Zara represents Smoke too, and Little Blunt. And let's see, Zara represents Eden, Lotus, Shao, Smoke, and the whole web. Zara is she's like the warrior goddess who's like, guiding people to bridge assets over and to pair with strength, right? And then Zara also is a magnet for Pulsechain, right? Pulsechain needs positivity at this point. Pulsechain needs, fair access, transparent DeFi, right? Some people might not like this idea that EROS actually is fair launch. It was airdropped to 10,000 TitanX holders. That's pretty fair. Yeah, it's a prorated, whatever I was holding, I got a prorated share of on TitanX, but it's pretty fair access. And now the question is, who knows that they have EROS in their wallet and who's going to look? And right now is a good time to look. It's a good time to look because EROS is no longer bottomed out. EROS is on the way to its all-time high. And so for people, it's a good time to wake up. If I was holding TitanX over a year ago, liquid, I might have EROS in my wallet. And it's the EROS Burn Baby Burn CF62 contract. Just look at the contract and see if you have it in your wallet. You don't have to connect to anything. Do research, educate oneself, see if you're holding value in your wallet. And then we all have a choice. We could hold it, stake it, lock it, and make passive income. We can put it into LP with strength, like I'm doing. I'm doing both of those, or we could sell it. I've never sold any EROS. I haven't. I've just been collecting it, right? At the bottom, slowly, $10, $12. It's the dust strategy. It's using dust to buy these lows in things that I think have a lot of potential. All right. Peace out, y'all. I got to get to work. This is like, all right. I'll be back.